Hello, Chinmay. How are you doing today?
Hi, Prateek. Thanks for having me on. I'm doing fine. Thank you.
तो मेरा मेन पर्पस था सीए स्टूडेंट्स को गाइड करना जिनके मल्टीपल अटेम्प्ट्स लग रहे हैं और सीए के लूप में फंस चुके हैं। तो जैसे कि आपको सब कुछ फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट में क्लियर हुआ था तो आपके पास गाइडेंस रहेगा तो आप बताएंगे तो बहुत अच्छा लगेगा। दिस वाज द मेन पर्पस ऑफ माय सेशन टुडे। सो
Sure.
चिन्मय, कैन यू गिव अ ब्रीफ बैकग्राउंड अबाउट योरसेल्फ एंड व्हाट डू यू डू करंटली?
Yeah. I come from Pune. I completed my CA in 2024. Currently, I work with Samara Capital as a part of its private equity strategy team. Previous to this, I used to work with Ambit Capital in its institutional equities division. During my articleship, I've done my industrial training from Deutsche Bank in its treasury markets and investments division. And prior to that, I was with JCS Consulting, where I mainly took part in risk consulting. So that's a brief background. If you have any more further specific questions, we can dive deeper into that.
Yes. So about your CA journey, what was the biggest turning point or challenge you faced during the same?
So I think this point comes to everyone who's begun their CA journey, especially when they begin their articleship. I think foundation is quite clear because you do that separately, and foundation is relatively easier when it comes to, let's say, intermediate or finals. So the real journey begins when you start your intermediate journey and parallelly also start your CA articleship. I think a lot of people make the choice of keeping or starting studies too late after starting articleship. But I think it is quite important to gauge where you stand in terms of your technical abilities, your knowledge, your paper writing skills, and begin preparation quite early on into your articleship. How I would put it, I so during my time we had 3 years of articleship, but I understand now it's become 2 years. So my suggestion would be once you start your articleship, give it 3 or 4 months to settle into the job, to learn the job, to know the people in your articleship firm, to know your clients better, to know what your deliverables are. And once you have that clear, I think you should begin preparing for your CA finals. I think the CA final subjects are vast, including taxation, including accounting, including financial management, and those sort of topics are quite vast. So it's great to have an early on head start in terms of preparation, so that you can complete at least 2 to 3 rounds of revision before you actually step into the examination hall.
Well said. So can you just elaborate on your overall strategy to tackle CA foundation, inter, or final? What was your study approach? Like mainly doing from relying on teachers or doing it on your own?
So I was very oblivious when it came to starting my CA journey. So I did what all the herd or all the other people in my commerce batch did, which is join classes for CA foundation. In hindsight, I think it wasn't necessary, or the class, I could have done without the class. But nonetheless, I joined my CA foundation class in Pune. That was quite helpful. CA foundation class, attending it physically, what that will do is also bring you closer, or help you develop relationships with people who are starting CA early on. And I think that remains quite important later on in the journey. Especially also when you need your articleship, when you want to move to a new city, maybe like I moved to Mumbai from Pune. And it even helps, let's say, after you're done with your CA, because some friends or some alliances or acquaintances last even after the CA journey. So I think it's quite important that you attend a physical class for CA Foundation to understand how the course is placed. Otherwise, apart from that, I don't think there is a need to actually join the class from an academic point of view. So, cutting the story short, I joined my CA class for CA Foundation. I also did classes for inter. So my intermediate exams actually coincided with COVID. So all the classes became online. What I started realizing during that point is online classes are not as effective as physical classes, because you're at home, you're in a cozy environment, you can pause and pause on the lectures whenever you want. You can also, munch on snacks when you want. You can take a nap when you want. So I don't think the online lectures are as effective, which is the reason I decided to have very minimal coaching in the CA finals. So I decided in the CA finals, much of the study, maybe 95% of the studies I would do would be self study rather than focusing on any class. So I think that would be my advice. I think somewhere it is also important to gauge where you sit academically, where you sit in terms of understanding concepts. If your concepts are strong right from your 11th, 12th grade in your foundations, then I think doing CA finals without any formal guidance or classes can be done. But let's say you are running short of time, then I would suggest someone to join classes for that matter.
Okay, so many a times people do revision lectures, multiple faculty revision lectures, or self-study. So, what would be your approach like to do revision lectures of multiple faculties to understand the topic in less time, or to read on your own and make your own notes, or a hybrid strategy?
See, like I said, going back to my previous point, it's quite important to understand where you stand conceptually. If your accounting, Ind AS concepts are clear, if your taxation concepts are clear, both direct and indirect taxation, if you are, let's say, interested in financial markets, and that's why you've come across or you're familiar with things you do in SFM, then I think it's not necessary to take on the lectures. I think that becomes sort of a dragged on, time-consuming process. What I would rather suggest is rely on the ICI study material itself. The revision lectures taken by, let's say, faculty or coaching staff, I think that becomes helpful if you want to do quick revisions. So all these 15-day courses or 30-day recap courses, I think they might help you somewhere recall what you've studied during your 2 years of articleship. So let's say in the first 3 months of articleship you studied some concept, but you need a revision on that, then I think you must take revision classes for that. But apart from that, I think self-studying, reliance on your ability to grasp and understand things, that will keep you much ahead of the crowd when it comes to clearing your CA finals.
Okay, so I think 95% of the people take classes for
Yeah.
all subjects for CA final. So basically, the question was, should you rely on ICI study material, the faculty notes, or you should do both first ICI study material, then concept notes?
See, so I have a different take on this. I understand that you say 95% of the people take classes. But see, even the faculty notes that have been developed, those have been developed considering ICI study material as a baseline. Because in the exams, it is ICI study material which will be considered, to frame questions, uh, to even understand the length of the answers that are expected in the papers. So I think a study material is a must. If someone thinks, purely, and to each for his own, right? So for me, uh, I felt it was very important to the study material rather than relying on other people's notes or other people's questionnaires. Purely because of the reason that I knew that the questions that would come in the papers, those would be based on the study material. So I, increased my focus on the ICI material and kept less focus on, other people's questionnaires and notes. I know people for whom it has worked the other way around. They've also done quite successfully in their exams and post that in their careers, despite them, focusing more on the notes and questionnaires from the experts. But I think for me personally, study material remains the Bible when it comes to clearing the exams.
Yes, actually, but how can you revise the whole study material in 1.5 days is a very relevant question for many students.
So how I used to do that is I had done about 2 rounds of studying in a detailed manner. So in the first round of studying, so that would be somewhere during my articleship. I would take quite a long amount of time to understand everything conceptually, to also solve the questions on paper, which is quite important. So I would do that. In my second round, which was slightly faster than the first round, I would fold the pages from the top, which I thought were important, and I would also underline the things or concepts which were important. Maybe definitions, maybe laws, maybe clauses. All of that I would underline, which I thought were important. And it's quite important to understand that this will come to help when you have only 1.5 days to revise uh, before your exam day. So during my exam day, I obviously did not read each and every word, each and every paragraph of the study material, but rather only skim through all these underlined sentences or underlined clauses, or the pages that I had marked previously. So I think this becomes quite helpful. uh, One page I was able to wrap it up in about 30 seconds, so the whole book took me about whatever, two and a half hours, and I was able to wrap up the subject revision within 1.5 days before the exam.
Okay. So what was your, can you elaborate on your strategy for theory subject and practical subject? Theory subject like audit, in which you got 70 plus, and IBS also you got 70 plus, and like TT, ITT, and audit as theory subjects, and for practical FR and AFM.
Right. I'll start with the practical subjects. I think I did less of this, but I would suggest it to anyone who is giving their attempt is to practice the questions by writing it down, including the format of the balance sheet, including the format of the P&L, including going into depth, writing your notes, everything. So I think this is something that I lacked. I might have done better if I had done this, but my suggestion to all these students at this point is to actually write and practice everything that's there in the practical subjects, like you pointed out, SFM, AFM, or FR. Why this is important is because you're able to increase your speed of writing. You have that picture of the format more clear in your head while you enter the examination hall, and you're just able to. It becomes sort of a flow or a habit once you start writing things down. So I think in practical subjects this is quite important. In the theory subjects, like I said, it's quite important that your first round of study or the first round of revision is quite detailed and in depth. Do not skip anything. Do not skip any chapters or any pages during the first round, because it's important that you get an understanding of what your strengths are. Uh, Obviously, ICI gives marks or has a marking scheme that is favored towards using, let's say, that particular a particular word or a particular phrase. So it's important that the first round is quite detailed and you know each chapter that exists, what are the broad topics covered in that chapter, and also how what your strengths are and things you can focus on. In the second round, I think you can be much more selective in terms of focus on your strengths, cover your strengths first, and then move on to the things that you're weaker at. Uh, Eventually, I feel you'll have covered much of the syllabus, and you'll know what your strengths are. In the context of the exam, this will help you in selecting the right questions. So, out of, let's say, multiple choice questions, it will help you in selecting questions in which you can answer thoroughly and in which you're confident. So, I think this is my brief suggestion when it comes to, one is practical subjects and second is theoretical subjects.
Yes, Chinmay. So actually, I had a point. Should you do important question list multiple times, or should you do whole question like two times? If you have limited time to do important question list like four times, or to do all
Mm.
questions two times.
Mm. So see, I followed a different method here as well. I didn't refer to any important questions or question lists that are given by faculty, because did my studies through the study material. I ended up solving or at least looking at going through all the questions at least once. So I am in the second bucket where I would rather say go through all the questions, understand the concepts that are covered in those questions, understand the format in which those answers are given, and then you can take a call on whether you want to be selective in the second round of revision. But I think at least once you should cover all the questions thoroughly. uh, just focusing on important questions, let's say a set of 50 to 100 questions, and doing it about 10-15 times, that won't help, because those questions, the probability, if you use a numerator and denominator factor, the probability of questions coming out of 100 questions is much lower than questions coming out of, let's say, the larger set of questions. So my advice would always be to go ahead and study the entire gamut of questions that are there.
Well said, well said. And the next question for you is, how can you relate your articleship work with CA studies to clear exam? And is it
Sure.
related, articleship experience, is it related to CA final examinations?
Sure. So see, I think this point completely depends on what you do in your articleship. I think today more than yesterday, the choices have become much more for a person to pursuing articleship to actually delve into a much broader area of work than what was there previously. I remember my seniors, or people who are, let's say, 10 years elder than me, who did their CA. While speaking to them, they would always refer to saying that they either did their articleships in statutory audits or taxation. Very few even an internal audit. During my time, it became much broader, with people. Most of the people were still doing articleship in statutory audits, taxations, transfer pricing, internal audits, risk consulting, all of this. But there were also a few people who had started doing articleships in, let's say, investment banking or interesting things like that. What industrial training, which I pursued, also does is it gives you the choice to expand your horizon of understanding the finance landscape, or the finance career landscape, so to say, in a much broader extent. I was very clear early on during my articleship that I wanted to join the financial markets, be it private or public, which is why I took a very early call to move from risk consulting uh, to Deutsche Bank, which did financial market investing. That was quite interesting because it helped me learn much more beyond what was there in the CA syllabus. I think this is quite a beautiful thing in the CA curriculum, is that you are not only restricted to the eight subjects as they were during my time, but rather during an industrial training, you can even explore other facets of financial careers. I have friends who did, articleships or industrial trainings in real estate, and today, work in private real estate, private equity. I have friends who did their industrial training from, multiple uh, companies or multiple industries, and today they, do very well in their careers. So I think, I know I've drifted away from your question a bit, but my point is, there is a lot to learn, much beyond what is there in the CA syllabus, and you can also correlate to what is there in the CA syllabus with your articleship. So I think that is the beauty of the CA curriculum, where actual theoretical knowledge is, combined with practical understanding of how businesses work. And personally, in my case, I had the chance to work with a lot of corporate leaders uh, during my CA journey through my articleship. That also brings in some confidence in terms of how the corporate industries work, how multiple industries work. I had exposure to hospitality, I had exposure to manufacturing, eventually to financial markets. So multiple industries. Contacts in multiple industries and also knowledge of multiple industries helps you later on in also making career choices once you complete your CA.
Well said, well said. And what was the role of spirituality or your parents or your friends in your success in CA examinations? Was it spirituality like praying or doing some saying God's name or something like that? Did you calm your mind or anything you want to elaborate?
Yeah, I think quite an interesting question. This is the first time someone's asked this to me on a podcast. But uh, see, I think friends and family, community in general plays a very important role. There are a lot of highs and lows during the 5 year period that come and take place. You have to sacrifice a lot of things in your life at that point to focus on studies and do things which are right rather than do things which are fun. And I think in these times, your family remains quite important. They act as a pillar of support for you. And I think having a community of friends or having a set of friends who are actually going through the CA journey with you, and also having a set of friends who are not doing the CA journey with you is quite important. I had a great combination of the two. The CA friends, obviously, we all were moving on the same path, so they always were very helpful in terms of having fun while we were doing the right thing in terms of studies and articleship. And the non-CA friends obviously brought another perspective to those 5 years, where they were moving on a different path, we were moving on a different path, but we would always converge at some point of time and enjoy that moment. So I think friends and family remains quite important. In terms of spirituality, or in terms of, let's say, I would put it another way. I would rather put it, how are you able to calm yourself in terms of in times of stress, or in times where you require to do 95% or 100% commitment to CA. I think rather than spirituality, meditation, I would say to each his own. I think some people choose spirituality, some people choose religion, some people choose sport to calm themselves down. So I think I would think it from that perspective. Is it's important that you have a hobby and continue to do it through your CA. It's important to, let's say, play sport, be active physically, because you're sitting like a couch potato all day
Yeah,
long, and just studying and reading through books, going through lectures. But it's important to be physically fit as well, so that come the exam day, your mental and physical situation is intact for you to give your best. So I would put it that way. What personally worked for me was both. Some bit of meditation, which I did in the mornings. It is a habit that I've developed since school, and also some bit of sports, and just casual interactions with my friends. I think that kept the mood light during the otherwise serious time of study.
right, right. And so why we've gone through your CA journey, and for someone who is like newly qualified, how can they select the stream? Shall they like just randomly apply for jobs on Naukri, or shall they decide their stream, or shall they join wherever they get an offer? Or basically, how do you decide which stream you are interested in if someone who has done articleship in all fields?
So I think quite a relevant question, especially in today's time when there is a lot of news that maybe CAs are getting outdone by other qualifications, or there are questions where how CAs will remain relevant or intact in times of AI, uh, with things changing so quickly. uh, I think in that sense, I think it's important to keep yourself upskilled even while you're doing your CA. It is important to bifurcate very early on what interests you. I was quite clear, and that was quite helpful for me, that I was since school interested in financial markets, interested in the stock markets, interested in what happens in corporate finance and those sort of areas. So I was quite clear that I wanted to join the financial industry, financial services industry, which is why I made the very important decision of switching from articleship to industrial training at Deutsche Bank. So I think if you are clear about your path, you must take that step early. There's no point in waiting till you complete your CA to actually start into this career. And today, I think opportunities exist more than ever for you to actually do an industrial training in a great organization under a great set of mentors and leaders who can help you later on move further into that career path. That is if you are clear on what you want to do. If you're not clear on what you want to do, my personal suggestion would be to explore multiple things. explore multiple things during your CA journey. So once you're done with passing your final exams, then at least you have that multiple options or multiple opinion on which industry to start in. So I think this is the broad principle that I followed to select the career path during my CA journey. In my life or in my journey, it was quite straightforward, but there might be people who might find it confusing. And for them, I think the second option, which is to have multiple choices or multiple experiences, as I would put it, that becomes important.
Okay, so one last question for you. Someone who is struggling in the CA journey, giving multiple attempts, be it in foundation, inter, or final. So, can you give a right approach? Like, if they follow this, they might clear. Last question.
So see, I mean, I'll refrain from going into the technical details of it because there might be people who write maybe slowly. There might be people who may not be able to grasp concepts as fast as the others. So I won't go to the technical details of it. But my thing is only discipline and be consistent in your studies. Don't give up. I think in your initial couple of attempts, it is quite important to retain that focus, to retain that discipline, and not get swayed away by the results. I was reading somewhere that a loser is only someone who is a victim of his failure. If you think more deeper about it, everyone who fails is not a loser. If you work hard enough multiple times and if you get up, you'll eventually be a winner. But failure does not define whether you're a loser or a winner. So it's quite important to keep at it and be consistent and disciplined in your approach. I think that is my simple advice to anyone who's taking time to clear their finals.
Great answer. Well said. Thank you, Chinmay, for your time.
Thank you. I hope I did justice to you.